Alright guys, I'm going to show you in this video how to make some of these lighting fixtures and receptacles and light switches and things like that. And as you see here on my screen, I do have a couple of them already made, but I want to kind of show you the process, give you some hints and stuff like that on how you might create these, or not really hints, but shortcuts. That's what I should say. Alright, now the lighting fixtures like this light fixture here and this receptacle, those are very simple, and what we want to happen is, for one, we need to be in 1/4 inch 1 scale. If you look right down here, you can change your scale simply by clicking on that button, okay, and then choosing 1/4 over 1. Alright, and what we want to happen is we want this circle to appear on the paper when it's printed out at that scale. We want it to appear to be 1/8 of an inch. So in order to do that, we draw a 6-inch circle in AutoCAD here. So if I go to the circle tool and then I click somewhere, and as I'm drawing it out, you can see that, let me zoom into it, it's measuring from the center, okay, which means what I'm actually getting measurement-wise is a radius. Okay, so in order to make this a 6-inch circle, I just need to enter 3 inches for my radius, and then there's my 6-inch circle. Okay, and then for the lines you see that I've put around this one, all right, to represent just a plain old surface mount light fixture. Well, see, first off is I want to be consistent with the line lengths. You know, I don't want to have some lines longer and some lines shorter and stuff like that. So what I'll do is I'll offset this primary circle, and I'm going to offset it 2 inches to the outside, just like that. And then I'm going to go to the line tool, and I'm going to find the center of that circle. Okay, and I'm just going to draw some lines, and I don't have to draw these any certain length. And let's see, starting the line tool over again. Okay, and now all I have to do is trim all the excess. So I'll trim out the inside, and then I'll trim out the outsides. And then I'll select this outer circle and delete it. Okay, so now I have a light fixture with everything, you know, all the lines are equal. And that's the big thing with these symbols, is consistency, and consistency across your entire drawing. Okay, now for the receptacles, I did the same thing. Okay, so I just created a 6-inch circle, and on this one, instead of let's see, let's go ahead and make a circle real quick here. All right, so I find the center, and then I draw the lines a little bit longer out one side than the other side. Okay, kind of like this. This is probably a little bit too long, but that's okay. Just make sure again that you're consistent with all of your receptacles. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to offset this line in both directions. So I'm going to click on offset, and I'm going to offset it 1/2 inch. And then I'm going to delete the center line. Try that again. And I have a receptacle. Of course, this one right here, I think I got them a little bit closer than I did on this one. Again, I think I did 1 inch offset on this one, so it might be a little bit better to do 1 inch offset. The thing is, again, it's just consistency across the board. Alright, the next one is this letter. It's a letter S. It's a light switch, letter S with a line drawn through the middle of it. Okay, and to create that one, we have to go in and play with our text tool. Okay, so watch very carefully as I do this. So I click on annotation and go here where it says annotative, because I'm going to change my lines or my letters to annotative, and I'm going to click on manage text styles. Now once I'm in here, okay, annotative should be highlighted. If it's not highlighted, go ahead and highlight it again and click set current, okay, to set that as the current text that you're using. Okay, and then you're going to go here where it says font and scroll down and look for a font called Country Blueprint. Select that one. Make sure this box is checked, which it should be already. And then your paper text height is going to be 1/8 of an inch. So enter 1/8 of an inch there, and then you're done. You can just apply it. It'll ask you to apply it. And then what you do is you create a text box by clicking on the text button. Okay, and once you draw that text box out, you just put an S in it, click outside of the box, and that saves your drawing there. And I don't know why that one came out a little bit larger for some reason. I don't know. I'll figure that out. But if you follow the same procedures that I did just now, then we should be okay. All right, and then I put a line down the middle of it. Okay, didn't stretch that one quite far enough. Okay, and once I put that line, I want to thicken that line up a little bit, because as you see, we're actually on both of these, the line is kind of thin and compared to the letter. So I'm going to click on the line, and then I'm going to go up into the properties panel. I'm going to pull down the menu that governs our line thicknesses, our line weights, and I'm going to set it for about 30 millimeters. Okay, so now I have a light switch. All right, the next thing and the last thing I'm going to show you is how to do a ceiling fan. Now, of course, let me back up just a second. Make sure on these, light switches and everything, and even your receptacles, that you have the proper annotation down here on the bottom right for certain ones, such as a 3-way light fixture. This symbol alone just represents a single pole switch. But if I put a 3 on here, it will be a 3-way switch. Now with the receptacles, same thing. If you have, like a GFCI, then GFCI would be written right down through here. Okay, now about ceiling fans. I'm sure many of you are going to want to put ceiling fans in some of your bedrooms, maybe your living room, or wherever else you might want a ceiling fan. So there's a certain way that I draw ceiling fans. And this is just a symbol. This isn't an actual representing the actual ceiling fan that you're going to put in place. Excuse me. But it is a symbol. And I do make it true to the size of the ceiling fan. I might as well. So if you're unfamiliar with the size of a ceiling fan, you can go on to Lowe's and Home Depot and stuff and look at the options that are available. And you'll find that they're available from about 36 inches up to about 52 inches. Just off the shelf ceiling fan. So in order to do that, let's say I want a 48-inch ceiling fan, and of course you can do all of your ceiling fans the same way. It doesn't really matter. You don't really have to get the exact measurement in there, but that's just one of the things I do. But let's say I'm going to do a 48-inch ceiling fan. So first thing I'm going to do is make a circle, stretch it out, and again, my circle is being measured by radius. So if I want a 48-inch diameter ceiling fan, then I'm going to enter 24 inches, which is half of 48 inches. All right, and then I'm going to draw a line from the center. I'm going to hover over the circle to find the center, and then just draw a line to the end. And then I'm going to go to the array tool. Okay, so right up here is an array tool. It's in the modify panel, and it has different options, rectangular, pathway, and polar. Yours might be at rectangular, so all you have to do is click on the drop down and click on polar array. I'm going to select the object. Now, as you notice too, look at my cursor. The instructions on what I need to do is written right there in the cursor. So it says to select objects. So I'm going to select the object I want to array, which is that one. And then I'm going to click the enter button. And then it asks me again in that dynamic input at the cursor to specify the center point. Okay, and then if you look up here, you get a whole new ribbon of different things that you're able to do. So I really just want to have 3 blades, which again, that's not representative of the actual fan. That's just the symbol that we use as a symbol with 3 blades. Enter, give it a second, and then we got 3 blades. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy these 3 blades. Or actually, I wonder if I can rotate and copy. I actually believe there is a way to do that, but I don't remember how to do it. So we're just going to do a regular copy. Okay, so we're going to click on the copy tool, and we're going to click on the object that we want to copy, and then we're going to click enter. Specify base point, which I will make, let's make it right here in the center. Okay, so now I have a copy. But what I need to do is I need to spin it just a little bit. So now I will actually rotate. So I'll click on the rotate tool, click on the object, click enter, go to the center of that object. Okay, and then I'm going to rotate it just a little bit. About right there is good. And then I'm going to move it back on top of the original. Okay. All right, and now I can start doing, well, actually I need to make one more circle in the center. So I'm going to click on the circle tool again, go to the center, and I'm going to make this one, let's say probably about, let's make it about an 8-inch circle. So I'm going to type 4 inches. Okay, and now I'm going to trim. Let's see, do I want to trim the center? Yeah, I want to trim the center now. So I'll go to the trim tool. Oh, actually, I forgot one thing. Now we can do what's called explode. So we can explode our drawing. Right now, these blades are as one unit. Okay, as you see, as I hover over them, the whole thing lights up. So I want to select both of these units. And then I'm going to go up here to the modify panel again. And there's an icon right here. It looks like a box coming apart, and it's explode. So I click on that, and that turns these into individual units. Okay, so now I can trim them. So I trim. I didn't do that right. Try that again, trim, select all, and then I can trim. Okay, and I can also trim the parts of the circle out that I don't need. And now I have a blade, or I have a ceiling fan with 3 blades. I can also make this look a little better if I go to my fillet tool, click on my fillet tool, and I'm going to look down here in my dynamic, or not my dynamic input, but in the command line, and it gives me some options. I can click on this word radius, or I can click on, or I can just click the R button while I'm sitting right here in the screen. I can just click the R button and then enter, and it enters the radius mode. And I've already got 2-inch radius. Actually, I want to drop that down to a 1-inch radius. And then I'm going to go around creating radiuses on all these corners. So I'm going to click here, click there, hit the enter button, click here, click there, hit the enter button, click here, click there. Just keep hitting the enter button between each set of fillet that you do. Okay, now we have a ceiling fan. So what I'm going to do with this ceiling fan, and this is what you want to do with all of your objects. You want to create blocks out of them so they're all one entity. So the ceiling fan that I just created, I'm going to go to Insert, Block, create block, ceiling fan, and make sure these two block boxes are checked. Okay, and my dynamic input says specify the insertion base point. Okay, so I did that. Now it tells me to select object. Now I've done that, and then I hit the enter button. And now the ceiling fan is all one object. Okay, so I can put ceiling fans in my bedrooms. Now I can either, if I want to place another one, I can just copy that one, or I can go right here and you'll see I have my ceiling fan. And I did these earlier. So, but again, make sure you turn all of them into blocks so that they're not all just separate little lines that you have to drag around. There'll be like one entity right here that you can use. You can copy it, you can move it, you can do all kinds of things with it. Okay, but we'll just copy this ceiling fan, and we will move it into these different locations. Get them all lined up nice and neat. And actually this one's going to be offline a little bit. And you might want one in the living room as well. Okay, so those will be ceiling fans. Now ceiling fans a lot of times will have lights on them. We'll get around to that when it comes to annotation. So in CAD you would actually annotate, you'd put a note there. Or actually it would be in your lighting schedule as well. So that's it. Have a good time doing that.